All right, welcome back. So on deck today is going to be another ballistics test. This time we're going to be looking at the 9mm 147 grain Ranger bonded plus P. Supposedly it's a contract overrun for an agency or department. I'm not sure which. Trying to find out, but I haven't been able to figure that out yet. So if anyone knows, go ahead and comment down below. But basically, I do not see this product in the Winchester catalog. So apparently it possibly was made specifically for an agency or department. I don't know if this is going to become a standard item or not, but currently it's available at very reasonable prices. So kind of curious to see if I can find an alternative to HST, since HST has been going up in price lately for whatever reason. So I'm curious to see how this is going to perform. Winchester has this rated at 1030 feet per second. So we're going to put rounds over the chronograph with the G26 Gen 4 with the factory barrel, G19 Gen 5, but I have a Gen 4 factory threaded barrel in it, so it'll be the same thing as a Gen 4 G17, and the MP5, and we'll be using, I believe this is a 9-inch barrel. Anyway, we'll put some rounds over the Crony, and then we'll do our ballistics test. What we'll end up doing is we'll do the short barrel through heavy clothing. If that runs well, then we're going to do the MP5 into a bear test to try to see how if that extra velocity we're going to get out of this, how it affects things. And then if that goes well, then we're going to do our simulated heavy bone test with the standard G17 length barrel. So anyway, that's what's coming up next, so let's get this going. Okay, so my other chronograph is messing up, so I won't be able to read off high, low, and average, but I will read off each individual shot, and I'll put everything down in the description, because I'm pretty sure we're not getting 6,000 feet per second out of these, although it would be awesome, but I don't believe we're doing that. All right, first up, G26. 982, 996, 989, 1025, and 999. If I had to guess, that's probably going to come in about 1,000 feet per second. Interesting thing, that is about what this round would be rated from the factory in its standard pressure configuration from a normal duty length gun. So be interesting to see how this goes. All right, now it'll be our G19 with the Gen 4 factory threaded barrel. 1073, 1076, 1081, 1065, and 1037. Okay, we're exceeding those velocities, so I'm beginning to think that this round might have been spec'd at that velocity for a G19 length barrel. All right, let's try the MP5. Okay, this will be the MP5. 1083, 1139, and I could hear a little crack on that one. Had an error, could hear a little crack, so probably exceeding 1100. Another error, come on. 1122, 1090, and 1120. Okay, so it looks like we're going to typically exceed 1,100 feet per second. So I don't know that these would be the best thing to run out of a suppressor, at least not from a longer barrel. But at those velocities, we're going to see how that affects performance. This will be interesting. All right, let's get to the terminal portion of the test. All right, so this will be our terminal portion. What we're going to have is for the first shot with the G26 anyway, we're going to have 4 layers of denim covering our standard 1-gallon water jugs. These water jugs are approximately 5 inches thick, and typically what I see is 1.5 times penetration as that of calibrated ordnance gel. So what we're hoping to see is a round that penetrates at least in the jug 4. Based on the data that I have coming out of this short barrel, since this is should be about a standard round, I'm expecting it to hit the back of jug 4. We might make it into jug 5. I do not expect it to pass through 5. If it does, that might mean our expansion has gone awry. But if that happens, we have our little catch box. So let's see how this shakes out. All right, here we go. All right, let's go check that out. Right. Looks like we did get expansion, but I do see water coming out of the back of 5. Let me see if it exited. Nope, it's in jug 5. Okay, I'll dig that out of there and we'll see how it looks. All right, so we did get expansion, but it's not full expansion. That would explain the deeper penetration. Tell you what, let's launch this out of the service length barrel. There may be a reason this is spec'd at a plus P. Let's launch this out of the service length barrel and see what we get. All right, so this will be a G17 length barrel. All right, let's go check that out. Okay, and already I can tell we're more along the lines of where we should be. Got a nice big dent on the back of jug 4, but no penetration and no crack on 5. So that puts us somewhere probably in the 14-inch range. And that's more along the lines of what I was expecting. So let me go ahead and dig it out of there and see what it looks like. All right, and there we go, fully expanded. That's actually really good performance. I'm suspecting this round is, there's a reason it's spec'd at plus P, whatever department or agency, I'm sure requested testing, and I'm sure this is spec'd at a plus P for a reason. Keep in mind, the 4 layers of denim is not the FBI protocol. That's actually the IWBA protocol, and it is actually more difficult than the heavy clothing test on the FBI protocol. Most of the manufacturer data that you see, that the manufacturers give, actually is not 4-layer denim testing. It's actually the heavy clothing test is the actual FBI test. So you may or may not see similar performance if you run the heavy denim test that you see on the data they're giving, and that's because the FBI test is actually not as stringent as the 4-layer denim. So keep that in mind whenever you're looking at duty ammunition. A lot of times these rounds have to be built more stoutly to perform through the other hard barriers, and they may or may not expand as well in that 4 layers of denim, but often will expand quite well in the FBI clothing barrier. So just keep that in mind. But from a service length gun, this looks really good. All right, this will be from the MP5. So basically we're going to stress this bullet to the max, having an uncovered shot. So essentially what we want to see is that the round doesn't overexpand and underpenetrate or completely start to come apart and become mangled. I suspect this is probably going to do pretty good. All right, let's go check that out. All right, so I had to look around for a bit. We perforated the first 3 jugs. They had leaked out, but I couldn't find, I found an exit on jug 3 and there it is, a crack on jug 4, but we didn't enter. We bounced off and just found it on the ground. So overall, that looks pretty darn good. Looks real similar to a gold dot. Shocker. Looks real similar to a gold dot. Obviously, nothing wrong with that. But out of a 9-inch barrel, for this to hold together what looks like perfectly, no petals broke off, none of that, and to crack and bounce off a jug 4, we would definitely be right at that 12-inch mark. Going into jug 4 would have probably exceeded, so we would have been real close, probably 12.5 inch or so. So not a big deal, nothing to worry about, especially considering we launched that out of that 9-inch barrel. So far this is looking really good for longer barrel or service length, and possibly even your pistol caliber carbines and stuff. So because this performed well in the manner that it did, and it looks like it's built very robustly, we're going to go ahead and put this through the heavy bone test, because this might be a good performer in that. All right, guys, so this is a little bit of an afterthought. I just got done with some other testing, including the video we just shot earlier, and I have my G19 barrel in the case where I keep my 26. This is actually how I normally carry my G26, with the 19 barrel in it, and it was kind of an afterthought, so you won't see this in the commentary, but I will link it, put the information description down below. We're going to do the 4-layer denim test. I have some different jugs this time. They're still 5-inch thick, so I'm kind of curious about this. I've done this once now. I want to see if this will repeat, the results will repeat, and again, I will put the information description. So here we go. All right, let's go check that out. All right, guys, so let me explain what happened. I had to do this 4 times. The first time I did, we recovered the round, it bounced off a jug 5, and it is expanded. I didn't like the way the shot placement was in the jug, so I had enough control. So let me do it once more. Fired that round through, same thing. Bounced off a jug on jug 5, but it bounced off the side, and I just couldn't find it. But judging by both the penetration and the holes in the jugs, it expanded. Had just enough where if I laid the jug on the side like so, and then fired through the bottoms of where the water still was, we try one more. This is the equal of 4 jugs in total length. And we actually had a little more expansion, but it did stop at the back of what would have been 4 jugs. So I think what ended up happening, the reason why we probably had a little more expansion was we didn't quite go through as much plastic because we weren't, because this one was laid on its side. But what it shows is these rounds are expanding through the 4 layers of denim through the Glock 19 length barrel. So it looks like the G26 length barrel is just right on the cusp of getting that good expansion in 4 layers of denim. But 4-inch barrel or more, and you should be okay. Just wanted to share that with you. Again, it'll be in the description down below. You won't see it in the commentary. All right, for those that haven't seen it, this is our simulated heavy bone test. So the idea of this is we have a 16-ounce water bottle placed in front of a standard 2x8 and then backed up with our usual 1-gallon water jugs, approximately 5 inches thick. So we cover this with 2-layer t-shirt simply because we're trying to reduce expansion just ever so slightly, because typically what you'll see in game animals and whatnot is a little less expansion than what you'll see in like a bear shot. So that's all that the clothing barrier is there for, but we want to see expansion in our standard little 16-ounce water bottle here before we strike the board, and then we want to see how that expanded projectile penetrates the board, and then how far does it go after. So the idea obviously is that your projectile starts to expand, strikes a big heavy bone structure, and then to see just what kind of penetration we get after. This is more applicable for trail carry, for those who carry their standard defensive load out on the trail, just to see, you know, what kind of effect could you maybe expect, or would the round just completely under penetrate. We've had pretty consistent results with this, so this will be interesting because I think this one might do okay. All right, let's check it out. Okay, we're gonna fire from our standard service length barrel. All right, let's go check it out. Okay. Well, that's quite an anomaly, because we stopped in the first jug. We had some really explosive expansion on our water bottle. Let me dig that out of there and see what that looks like. That's pretty surprising. So we had complete and full expansion, as much as you could get. Everything's peeled back to the shank. Seemed pretty explosive on the board. Obviously our water bottle is actually blown in 2, so we had some serious expansion happening very rapidly in that setup. That's really surprising. That's actually, judging by the profile of this round, I would have thought that would have went deeper. I mean, we've seen before 124 grain projectiles fully expanded going deeper. I don't know, that's kind of a little bit of an anomaly. We saw something somewhat similar with our 10 mil last time when we used our 6-inch barrel and our HST. I'm gonna go ahead and do this one more time, since I only ruined 1 jug. Got enough material. We'll go ahead and do this one more time just to see if this repeats. We'll try this one more time just to see if we get a repeat, or if that was indeed an anomaly. All right, let's go see how that looks. Okay, so this is a little interesting. So obviously we did get expansion. Our water bottle, however, was not completely ripped in 2. We had a good hit on the board, but we didn't get as much fracture damage, which tells me that round was not quite as expanded potentially. And we had penetration through 1, 2, 3, cracked the back of 3, and dented 4, but we did not enter 4. Now, that's more of what I actually expected. So that's interesting on that first shot. Let me dig this out of here and see what it looks like. And that's more along the lines of what I expected. So I don't know, was that an anomaly last time? Possibly. There's really no way to do this test, and although we have gotten repeatable results in the past, there's always going to be possible changes in the structure of the board and whatnot that you just can't control. So it's not exactly scientific. It is interesting. It's just interesting to see those 2 different results back to back like that. But this is more along the lines of what I expected, and actually did pretty well, because that's more in line with a lot of the 10 mil we've tested, and actually I believe that's similar to the 147 grain HST. So kind of what I actually did expect. But interesting that we had that change like that. But I wouldn't get too wrapped up on that. Remember, this is supposed to be more of a self-defense bullet, and this test is not really what this is going for. This is more large game and stuff, dangerous game type things if you're out on the trail. But it does go to show sometimes things happen, don't turn out the way you think they should, but that's how it goes. All right, let's take this tailgate and wrap it up. All right, guys, so wrap up on all this. Well, I made a little mistake earlier and deleted my outro. So actually we are going to include the 4-inch barrel in this. So what's the wrap up? Well, what it looks like is this round is designed to perform from a basic Glock 19 4-inch barrel, duty length handgun and above. It performed really well out of the long barrel, which is probably why it didn't do so well in the short barrel, just because that velocity spectrum to make a round expand that well at the short barrel velocities, you probably start ripping apart or over expanding out of the long barrel. So kind of tells me maybe the agency that adopted this is probably carrying a Glock 19 or 17 and probably still has access to things like the MP5. Kind of got a theory on who actually adopted this. Anyway, I won't. We could speculate in the comments. All right, so what's the final takeaway? Well, quite simple. This is a good performing load from a 4-inch barrel or above. It'll be a good performing load for a PCC, pistol caliber carbine type weapon, or MP5. Basically anything with a 4-inch or longer barrel, this is a good load in. So I actually did another additional expansion test after the little insert that I did, just to be sure, because 2 of those rounds bounced off and got away from me. And again, we had, in fact, I think it was this one. We had pretty much perfect expansion, same type penetration. So yeah, it's reliably expanding from the 4-inch barrel or more. It's just when you get in that 3.5-inch range, we are getting expansion, but we're right on the cusp, and then obviously from our G17 length barrel, it's just absolutely picture perfect. And from our MP5, looks really good. Penetration's spot on with this. And so expansion is exactly where it looks. I have to measure these, but it looks like we're going to hit the 1.5 caliber mark for most of these shots, which is what you want. The bone test. Okay, real quick on that. I don't know, maybe if we hit a knot in that board, I'm not sure. There does appear to be like there was more peeling back on that one that penetrated less, but man, if this profile just shouldn't have gone deeper, but yeah, it is what it is. We've seen anomalies like this, usually with the 45, once with the 10 mil, though maybe not quite as extreme. And then of course the second shot performed excellent. So maybe that's something going on with the board. I'm not sure. However, maybe the takeaway from that could be this. These types of things are unpredictable. Shooting through any kind of barrier that you can't precisely replicate is unpredictable, such as the size of a bone structure, maybe the hardness of the bones. All these kind of things can be different. So maybe there is something to think about when you're selecting a bullet for trail use. Bullets, particularly they're designed for self-defense, but just in general, expanding ammunition in general, there might be something to the idea of selecting a monolithic type bullet, such as an extreme penetrator, or maybe a hard cast, or maybe even a bonded full metal jacket, because as you can see, we usually got penetration that was well, but every now and then you get that anomaly. And if that happens in a game animal, well, one, the individual it happened to is going to have very negative things to say about that particular loading, even though it's just one incident. And it also can show why some people might say great things about a loading. That's just how it goes. So take that away from that, maybe, that if you are trying to rely on expanding type ammunition for that type of work, just understand that things can happen. All right, so what I'm going to do another video, and I'm going to pit this Ranger Bonded, because since it performed well from the 4-inch barrels and above, I'm going to go ahead and pit this against a 40 cal. Yet again, love them or hate them, those videos are proved popular. I'm curious to see how this performs through the windshield, because I don't have any data on this plus P loading. And we're going to use a modern 40 caliber loading as well, so we can get that comparison, because I know a lot of folks obviously want to see that. So that'll be in the next video. I'll link this one and that one in each description. I'll also put weights and measurements in the descriptions. And overall, this is going pretty well. So, all right. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe. Share the video. It helps the channel out. As always, I appreciate the comments, guys. And tell me what you guys think about this. But please keep those comments professional. I'll see you guys next time.